Hello, Buckeye Nation, and everyone else out there. Welcome to Ohio State at the Voice of College Football. I'm your host, Garrison Gaddy. Before we get started here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share with your friends, your family, loved ones, and even if you have them, friends in Ann Arbor. Also, don't forget to like this video, share it, comment on it, let us know what you are thinking and how you think these allegations are going to go for the University of Michigan. Now let's get to it. Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports came out with somewhat of a groundbreaking article. It is the response from that team up north. And it's very interesting. And if you guys don't know anything about me, let me tell you this. I don't care much for this, the saga of the NCAA versus the Wolverines, but only to an extent where if it's something new, I don't care to go and cover it. I mean, I'm sorry, if it's not new, I don't care to cover it. And until anything comes out that I think is actually worth talking about, or until they actually get pinned with something and then they get the fines or whatever else it may be for the violations, it's hard for me to talk about. But then I opened this article and I read through it thoroughly. And what we're going to do to everybody is that we're gonna break this down, and we're gonna break it down thoroughly. And shout out to all my Wolverine friends out there and channels, and even here at the Voice of College Football who talked about it. But we're gonna talk about it thoroughly here. And for all of you out there that are not Buckeyes, let me tell you this and be honest with you. Yes, I have disdain for this university, or more so the program. What I'm always going to do is come on here or any other show I'm on, or the Scarlet and Blue show, or anywhere else, and give you my honest opinion and break these down to you as I see them, but without biases. That's how I'm always going to cover things, and I'm always going to bring them to you, the audience. So let's get started here, and we're going to read through the whole thing. I think that is a little much. If you need to, go to Yahoo Sports or just type it in. You'll find it. It should be about 21 hours now if you need to find it in terms of when it came out. But we're going to start here, and the way we're going to do this, we're going to go through. We're going to connect them to four violations four things that go to class one violations, and it's these four things: lack of institutional control, failure to cooperate, unethical conduct, and violation of the head coach responsibility and rules. Those are the things that we're going to focus on. So let's start here. It says in the 137-page document, a portion of which Yahoo Sports obtained, Michigan makes clear that it will not enter into a negotiated resolution with the NCAA over the alleged wrongdoing, vigorously defending its former head coach, which would be Jim Harbaugh. Current head coach would be Sharon Moore, several staff members, and even Stallions, which is surprising to me. We're going to stop right there, and this is why it surprised me. Today, ex-Michigan football player on 97.1 The Ticket, John Jansen, came out, and he even said it's confusing to him why the Michigan fan base even defends this guy. It's weird. It's very weird. He said it makes the program look bad, and it does, except for any Michigan fan you talk to on social media or Isaiah Hole. And we're going to get to Isaiah Hole soon. We're going to talk about him soon. But it's just amazing how they hold him up, because it's not normal. If it was Ohio State, and if it was us that were going through this, personally, for me, and I believe most Buckeyes would feel this way, and even though we've had our fill of quote-unquote cheating, it's never been on the field or to the extent of this. I would tell you I'm pissed and I don't like it. But that's me. Probably you guys. It's not most of them. But let's continue. It says here, Michigan will not negotiate with them Which here's the thing about that. Why aren't you? Clearly, they have something on you. If they didn't, I don't believe they would continue to pursue you. Nor do I believe that, because if you're not going to negotiations, you believe you can flat out just win. If you believe you could flat out just win, at the end of the football season the prior year, last year, Michigan was talking about how they're going to go and fight and all of that. And next thing you know, they canceled it. Why? Probably because they found out, they got more than we thought. But hey, that's just me. But it says, in the response, Michigan believes that the notice of allegations sent to the school in August makes numerous factually unsupported infractions, exaggerations, aggravating factors, and ignores mitigating facts, the document says. The school requests that the NCAA apply common sense and commitment to fairness. How dare they? Commitment to fairness. How dare they? And treat the case not as a serious level 1 infractions case, but a level 2 standard case. The problem with that, it's not a standard case anymore. It's not a standard level 2 case anymore. And it's not because you have coaches who are more than likely repeat offenders, one being Sharon Moore. And another being Jim Harbaugh, but he's gone now. And quite honestly, do I think he means much in this whole thing now? I don't. He's gone. He's off. The most they could, they already gave him a show cause, I believe so. Who cares? He's never coming back to college football. I truly don't know if in the article they go to Jim Harbaugh. It's not important to me right now, nor I think it's important. It should be important to anyone else when talking about the subject. The document says here, the document details why many of the 11 allegations against the school, 6 of them deemed as level 1, are without merit or credible evidence. We'll come back there. The school contends, and that includes allegations against ex-head coach Jim Harbaugh. We've already been through that, and Sharon Moore, of course. And then they briefly talk about the deleted text messages. We'll get to that soon also. Now, let's have some fun. However, perhaps the most notable in the document is an answer to a long discussed question. Who originally tipped off the NCAA to Stallion's scheme? Now, if you talk to Isaiah Hole, and let's stick there. So if you guys remember, on Minister Sports, shout out to my guy Chris, Drew, and Zach Smith over there. Zach Smith came out and just, I wouldn't say he flat out said a lie. He was joking and brought up Ryan Day's brother. Somehow, some way, that turned into truth. I don't know how, but it did. And then continuously throughout the month, for about a year now, Isaiah Hole has continuously pushed that, said that he has sources from inside. Sources from inside that would say different. And I didn't understand that. And I asked him, because about probably late last night, I saw him comment about it. And I asked him, well, why didn't you vet that information? Because clearly they weren't right. If at this point, if they were, this would have been brought up by now. Mind you, the NCAA, it was brought to their front doorstep and they already pushed it away. Why? Because it's BS and no one cares. Except Michigan fan Isaiah Hole. By the way, I actually on his show not too long ago, he said he's not a Michigan fan. Bullcrap. But it's clear that it came from the inside. It's clear that it was someone in-house. And as we break this down, we're going to continue down that road and we're going to get there. Now, we're going to scroll down a little bit, and this is where I want to, and this is where we have some more fun. The NCAA's notice of allegations, as well as Michigan's response, did not stipulate proposed penalties against the school. However, 6 of the 11 violations are deemed to be level 1, and the NCAA asserts that Michigan failed to monitor its football program, given the severe nature and multi-year length of the Stallion scheme. The university and several of its coaches are considered repeat offenders, as I said earlier, and allegation the school refused in its response. Now, remember those 4 things I brought up, what qualifies as a level 1 violation. Right here, where it says failed to monitor. Everyone, if you're at home, I want you to take fail to monitor and throw it in the lack of institutional control bucket. That's exactly where that goes. And we're gonna at the end of this, we're gonna see how many times we go to these buckets, these 4 buckets that we have, and see how many of these Michigan is probably involved in. So there's that one. Also, violation of head coach's responsibility rules. Failed to monitor. Seems like I think that matches too. Let's go ahead and throw it in that bucket. Now, we're going to continue on right here where it says 2 years ago, a separate investigation found both Harbaugh and Moore guilty of COVID-era recruiting violations. In that case, Michigan was placed on a 3 years probation, and Harbaugh received a 4-year show call, whatever, or it effectively prevents him from coaching in college. Now, another one of those buckets, everybody, was unethical conduct. Now, aside from your feelings about COVID and everything that happened in that, because that's not the place for here, let's just take it as it simply says. For breaking COVID rules, recruiting, seeing players, all that. Well, that seems kind of unethical to me. I think it falls right in that bucket. Maybe it doesn't. Let me know in the comments if you think it does or not. But I think that goes right there. I think it is unethical to go during a pandemic and still go recruit players and see them. We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. That's dangerous. For some people, that is seen as dangerous. Let's continue. In its response, the school acknowledges that some impermissible in-person scouting appears to have occurred, though less than the NCAA claims, and that some recruiting violations occurred as well. All of the wrongdoing, it says, will be addressed in the Committee on Infractions hearing, and it will advise committee members of self-imposed penalties. Those recruiting violations, everybody, again, during that time period, go throw it in the unethical bucket. That was something that should not have been going on. Not only are you just breaking recruiting rules, but clearly they would probably think that's unethical. Maybe they won't, maybe they will. I'm just throwing it out there because I believe it is, or it can be seen as that. Now let's continue here. Despite producing phone, computer, and other data to the NCAA, investigators have not proven that any coaches were aware of, much less participated in the scheme, Michigan says. Everybody, that's a lie. That's a flat out lie. And what's funny about it is that, everybody, we're going to bring this up right here. I want to bring this up to you guys. I probably should have done this from the beginning, but this is the basis that we're going to go off of. This is the quote that we are going to use. This is the rules to the conversation. We are going to follow what their holier than thou, pompous institution, program, and fan base go by. Now, what did the most famous Wolverine of all time say, everybody? He said this right here. When someone uncovers a scandal in their company, I don't think they can say, I didn't know what was going on. They're just saying they are too dumb to do their job. And if they are really too dumb, then why are they getting paid millions of dollars to do it? They know what's going on. I think that's pretty self-explanatory there, and those are the guidelines we're going to go by. If Throughout college football history, especially over the last 20, 30 years, we have held coaches to a standard that if you, it's not enough if you don't know. You're supposed to know. Now, is that impossible? I believe it is. I don't think you can go around knowing everything that goes to your program. Too bad. That's the job. That's the job. When you sign on to it, when you sign that $1 million contract, that multi-million-dollar contract, you know that it comes with the territory. So for all you Wolverine fans out there that want to bump your gums and bloviate about how Jim didn't know, my simple question to you is this: was Jim lying, or is Jim too dumb? And that goes for the rest of the coaches like Sharon Moore. But we'll move on here. That just kills me. It just kills me how they go through this. Now, everyone, I'm gonna try and zoom through this, but this is the fun part that I love, and it's Sharon Moore and his deleted text messages. On the NCAA's 11 allegations against the school, 6 of them related to Stalions and his scheme. One of them stands as the most serious and impactful for the current state of the program. More than an assistant deleted 52 text messages with Stalions on the very day, October 19, 2023, that Yahoo Sports broke the story of the NCAA's investigation into the school. In its response, Michigan and Moore acknowledged the deleted text messages, as we all know. However, the school contends that the texts were innocuous and not material to the investigation, and that Moore cooperated fully with the investigation, even turning over his phone for imaging, a move that revealed that he had previously deleted the messages. The coach told school officials that he deleted the messages in anger, and frustration shortly after the bombshell news story broke, suggesting that he did not want one person, Stalions, to receive credit for all the work that coaches and players put into the championship run. His words exactly: I deleted all the information, all Connor, on my personal phone, he said in Michigan's response. And it wasn't to hide anything. It was just that I was just extremely angry of, the type of person that would do that to this program and the kids. That, my friends, is one of the weakest and most BS responses I've ever heard in my life. So let's get this straight. I want to ask everyone this very important question. Think about your own relationship, if you're in one, whatever level it's at: dating, boyfriend, girlfriend, engaged, married, long term, whatever it is. If you went to your significant other, and there's some suspicious activity going on, and then they ask for your phone and you give it to them, and they can clearly see that you deleted a bunch of text messages, what does that look like to you? What does it look like? And sometimes it's not in the Navy. We say, Oh man, I just blanked on it. It's a very common thing to say. But basically, if it looks one way, then that's what it is. If it looks one way, that's what it is. And now, is that always true? No, it's not. But dude, that is just a weak excuse. You deleted 52 text messages because you were angry at the guy that he might steal all the credit for what the coaches and players did. That's not a reason to do that. Now let's just continue here, everybody. This is great. However, the university notes that none of the texts were specifically about the in-person advanced scouting system, where Stallings allegedly organized himself and a group of low-level staff, friends, and family members to record in person as many as 52 games of Michigan's upcoming opponents over a 3-year stretch. Now, let's continue reading. Then I'll ask a very important question to everybody that I think is no, forget it. If you are a staffer on another team, what reason do you have buying tickets to another program, let alone your own rival? And your job is to steal signs. I highly doubt that he has friends and family that are big Ohio State or like I think he probably wouldn't. I think earlier last year they said there was around 10 schools, somewhere around that. There's no reason for that. There just isn't. Had a conversation with someone and said, well, maybe well, what about reasonable doubt? That has a play here. It has a play. I'm not saying they're going to do it, everybody. Well, for you Wolverine fans, so you don't start crying on this channel, but it's there. And I think common sense would lead you, again, like common sensing that Michigan said, this report said that Michigan said in the report earlier in the article, common sense would tell you what he's trying to do. I just don't, I don't understand some of this. And again, this isn't, I wouldn't call this some proverbial hammer. I don't believe Michigan is going to lose or have their wins vacated. I don't believe their championship is going to be vacated. What you're not going to do is piss on me and tell me it's raining. You can't sit here and see all this and hear all this and then think, it's nothing. We didn't do anything. Our school is innocent. The program is perfect. You can't go around doing that. It comes off as just arrogant and pompous. So yes, let's sorry, I lost my spot here. We're still going to stay here on Jerron Moore. It says, while the NCAA rules prohibit in-person scouting of future opponents, the association permits scouting opponents' signs during games against that opponent from television broadcasts or tape recordings, which Connor Stallings in Michigan did say in the report that he got most of his stuff from watching film and watching the TV copy. I'm not sitting here saying that he didn't do that. I think all sign stealers do that, from USC to Ohio State to Florida. I think we all have guys that sign steal. Again, this isn't about stealing signs. This is about in the means that you go to do it. The means in which you go to do it. For some odd reason, Michigan fans can't comprehend that, and I'm not sure why. Some of the text messages between Moore and Stallings paint a fascinating picture of the behind-the-scenes nature of Michigan's sign-stealing effort, one that, according to the school, is perfectly within the rules and is a fairly normal art among college football staffs, as we just talked about. Now let's get to here. In an August 2022 text from Stallings to Moore, Stallings describes needing time to meet with the coach to discuss a juicy report for you on CSU, Colorado State University, as in, which Michigan opened the season against that year. The Wolverines won 51-7. Now, I don't know the extent of what. I don't think anyone does. No one knows the extent of what's the sign stealing, how much it helped them in the past few years in their season in these games. But we all know if you're cheating, you're doing it for a reason. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. And so it's 51-7 against Colorado State. Is that surprising? I would say no. Colorado State's a bad program compared to Michigan. At the same time, though, it's kind of like if you go to a store and you steal, let's say, one candy bar. You can't go to the police after that and say, well, sir, it's not like I stole 20 candy bars. But you stole one. You still did it. You're still thieving. So that's just how I feel about that. And another bullet point here on the article. In November 2022 text, Stallion suggests to Moore that Michigan should change the signals ahead of the Ohio State game. Moore responded that he'll think about it. And Stallion responds that Nebraska is screwed, a reference to the fact that he could easily decipher the Huskers' signals ahead of the Wolverines game against them that very week. Michigan won that game 34-3, but Moore told university officials that Nebraska used wristbands, so there were no signals to steal. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But I still don't understand why he would say Nebraska is screwed. Clearly, I don't think you do these things if you're not going to do it in the game or use it. It's impossible for me to see that as a football or just sports person, like if you put time into something, and if I see countless videos of Stallions in each coordinator's ear, it's impossible for me to believe that you are not continuously using that throughout the season and throughout the years. It says here, perhaps the most interesting text came in April of 2023. Stallion sent a note to Moore that Central Michigan assistant coach Jake Costner planned to visit the facility to meet with Moore. Central Michigan opened up the 2023 season with Michigan State, which UM regularly played. Ironically enough, Stallions is believed to have attended the game CMU versus Michigan State while in disguise. that picture will never get old. In fact, CMU fired Costner last fall as the NCAA investigated the matter of Stallions' alleged appearance on the sideline of the game. So let's put this together here. So Stallions meets with a guy. Mind you, they still haven't finished that investigation over Central Michigan. That's amazing that your administration can't figure that out. It's really amazing. When technically it's right in your face. It's in everybody's face. But he sent a note to Coach Moore about the assistant that eventually got fired from Central Michigan for being involved in the Stallions scandal. And you're sitting here telling me that that's not a smoking gun, like that's not something to look at and go, huh? Again, I don't know where I don't know how you could be a fan and see all this and not understand that something's coming down the pipeline. Again, not calling it some hammer, but it's probably not something you're gonna like. I mean, I wouldn't like anything going against the program that I love in Ohio State. I wouldn't at all. But for some odd reason, you all believe that there is nothing to look at here. There's nothing to look at here. And it's, again, just like Central Michigan, it's right in your face. You just choose not to. You just choose to close your eyes, and that's a problem. Can't walk when you do that. This is just some of the funniest stuff. 52 games. That's just, it's amazing. It's amazing. So we're gonna finish up here, everybody, and I'm gonna end it early here because I want to talk more about it with Ryan, my co-host, on Thursday on our live show. And also, I mean, don't forget everyone, call on Thursday. Yeah, we're gonna be live, but that's your show. That's the Buckeye fan show. That's where you can come and express how you're feeling about the program or any current news that is happening. But we will speak more on this. I don't want to get all of my full thoughts out right now on the second half of this. I'll probably do that with, not probably, I will do that with Ryan on Thursday. So again, coming to the call-in show on Thursday, it will begin at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Can't wait for it. Uh, Again, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please like and share this video. And as always, OHIO.